Ellwood Mesa, now known as the Sperling Preserve in honor of a generous contribution from Peter and Stephanie Sperling, is a magnificent 137-acre coastal property offering habitat for many species and recreational opportunities. Ellwood Mesa's beautiful views of meadows, eucalyptus groves, beach access, hiking trails, the Pacific Ocean, and Santa Ynez Mountains offer ample opportunities for recreation. The property also provides important habitat for a variety of wildlife. The groves serve as roosting and nesting habitat for birds and act as a buffer from urban light, glare, noise, and visual intrusion.
Well, I'm so glad to be standing out here today. This is right in the middle of a nice September afternoon on Ellwood Mesa. It's very brown today, but that's the Golden State to us here in Ellwood. We just love it. Well, where's my binoculars while I'm standing out here? I almost never come out to Ellwood Mesa without my binoculars in my hand. For example, right now behind me we have shorebirds galore. Yep, we do. And we also have that famous snowy plover habitat on that same beach. There's always something to identify. I became a birder out here actually many years ago. I think a lot of people come out here for every kind of reason you can imagine. I know I spoke personally to 15-year-olds who told me this was for them wilderness. And that was pretty cool. Because we all know this is an urban, accessible area, which is a miracle that it's like what it is, and it's so easy to walk here, ride here on a bicycle. As you might imagine, it's easy to bring your pets here and then have a dog walk with you. And that's exactly what both the locals and visitors and students have been doing forever.
Its woodlands also contain one of the state's largest monarch butterfly overwintering sites, providing refuge for as many as 100,000 monarch butterflies each year.
This eucalyptus grove along Devereaux Creek here is, during the winter, one of the largest wintering sites for the monarch butterfly in the whole country. It's the center of the Ellwood Monarch Habitat Complex, which provides apparently ideal conditions for the monarch butterfly to overwinter. Well, in just a month or two, tens of thousands of butterflies will be congregating in these trees and hanging in huge clumps and flitting around in the sunlight when it's sunny. It'll just be spectacular. And we get visitors from all over the world every winter coming here to see these butterflies. The presence of these butterflies has inspired so many people to really care about the Ellwood site and to work towards the acquisition and permanent preservation of this area. There's a lot of other wonderful resources and beautiful aspects of Ellwood, but this one has sort of been one that the community has rallied around.
Though the property has been the subject of a long-standing land use conflict, the City of Goleta and its partners orchestrated a land swap deal which resulted in the preservation of Ellwood Mesa and the development of residential units adjacent, thereby resolving a decades-old dispute.
For the past decade, the Trust for Public Land has actually been involved in conversations about the possibility of conserving this property. However, it wasn't until the current landowner became involved that TPL had the ability to forge an agreement that ultimately resulted in the preservation of this coastal bluff-top property we know as Ellwood Mesa. And that agreement was signed in July of 2001. The agreement was 3 points on the agreement. The first of all was that a portion of the value of the Ellwood Mesa property was going to be, quote, swapped for 36 acres of property that was adjacent to Ellwood Mesa, owned by the City of Goleta. The second part of the agreement called for the developer to be allowed to apply for up to 78 residential units on the adjacent parcel. And the third point was that the Trust for Public Land would then raise approximately $20 million that would pay to make up for the balance of the value of the property. One of the critical components of this is that all three of those things had to be moving concurrently, so that when the last permits were issued by the California Coastal Commission, the money would be in the bank, thus allowing escrow to close.
When the city of Goleta incorporated in February 2002, Ellwood Mesa was owned by Santa Barbara Development Partnership. Like previous owners, Santa Barbara Development Partnership planned to develop residential units on the property. The preservation of Ellwood Mesa became one of the newly elected City Council's top priorities, and to achieve this goal, the city set out to forge an innovative public-private partnership with Comstock Homes, the Trust for Public Land, and Santa Barbara Development Partnership.
Well, we'd already been working with the county and the city approximately 2.5 years, working to work out a development project on the mesa. Originally, the site was zoned and approved conditionally for 162 units. When we got involved, some of the grasslands and eucalyptus groves had changed, so the footprint had to be shrunk. And so we spent, like I said, about 2 years shrinking the footprint. We had it down to about 130 units. And the only issue left for the entitlements to actually build on the mesa at that point was how we're going to gain access to the site through the existing neighborhood, Santa Barbara Shores, or coming through the park where we're standing now. And it was kind of a quirk, or just a very fortunate comment that came out of a last planning meeting, where somebody in the meeting on the county staff looked at us and said, "Hey, I wish you guys were here 10 years ago. We'd like to talk to you about a trade." So I didn't think anything of it and left the meeting, and there was a consultant that had been working with the prior owners on the site, and I asked him about the trade piece, and he said, "Oh, it's not worth talking about. Don't even go look at it." I said, "Well, just show me where it's at." And it turned out what they were talking about is exactly where we're standing today, and that was moving the housing off of the mesa and the shoreline back to the Santa Barbara Shores Park in adjacency to Hollister, which then you solve your access issues, you take all the development off the shores. And so it was really through that just quirk of a comment that triggered the trade.
The work to preserve Ellwood Mesa took place in the context of an effort between the City of Goleta, the County of Santa Barbara, and the University of California, Santa Barbara to create a multi-jurisdictional open space for the Ellwood-Devereux coast, to reduce the amount of residential development near coastal bluffs, relocate development further inland away from sensitive coastal resources, and establish a continuous 652-acre area along the shoreline that includes open space and natural reserves managed for public access.
I think, personally, because of this place, lots of people were motivated to really see that local control was important, and we would never get to save this property otherwise. So we were really happy to see that that got a lot of power, a lot of good votes, and guess what? We're in a new young city, and we're proud of it. Anyone can imagine that this community is now part of a city with a city council and a huge staff that really cares. I shouldn't say huge, they're just hugely loved. There's probably, we need twice as many good people as they have. But oh, I can just tell you that working together with the city has been a dream. It's been a real dream.
After all these years of work, finally, early this spring, escrow closed on this property, and it became part of the City of Goleta's park system. And we knew it was preserved forever. It was an exhilarating moment for everyone on the council, for staff, I think, and for the whole community to celebrate this great accomplishment.
The Trust for Public Land, a national land conservation organization, was very pleased to have been able to bring its many resources to the table, to be working with the community of Goleta and the City of Goleta to bring this fabulous project to fruition. It's certainly an accomplishment of which we can all be very proud.
Oh, I believe so. I think, and what I've learned about the Ellwood Mesa is how special the Ellwood Mesa is to everybody that lives in this area of the country, and what an actual special place it is. And it really became apparent when we actually started working on the trade on how many people that actually wanted to get involved in making this happen. It really wouldn't have happened if it wasn't a three-party effort, including the City of Goleta, the Trust for Public Land, and obviously ourselves, and working with the different environmental groups here to eke out the compromises that made this development possible.
The commitment to protect Ellwood Mesa provides us with a successful example of how both private development and environmental preservation can be achieved through a common commitment to protection of environmental resources and sustainable development.